welcome back to my channel. So I am friggin' exhausted. I woke up literally like 2 hours ago and I'm ready to film this video because today's video needs to be done all day. So I got my coffee because I need to wake up a lot. Like, I'm so tired and I have no idea why. But anyways, besides the fact that I'm tired and nobody really cares, we're gonna be talking about the JUVIA'S Place Velvety, I Am Magic Velvety Matte Foundation and concealer. So JUVIA'S Place is awesome. I actually ordered the concealer in the shade 22, but they sent me the shade 21. So I contacted them and I said, hey, I ordered the shade 22, but you guys sent me the wrong one. Like, how should we go about this? And they went ahead and just sent me the correct shade. So now I have two I Am Magic concealers and I didn't even pay for one of them. So they are legit awesome, because usually companies will have you send the other one back and they won't send you a new one until they get that one back, if that makes any sense. But they just went ahead and sent me the correct one. So thanks, JUVIA'S Place, youthebomb.com. But so yeah, I'm gonna do a review slash wear test slash first impressions kind of thing. It's not really a review because I haven't tried this foundation before, so I'm gonna say it's a first impressions slash wear test, if that makes sense. Okay, so this is what the box looks like. And then this is what the component looks like. It is a nice squeezy tube, so super travel friendly. I love this packaging. I think it's super cool and unique. I really like it. So that's what the outside packaging looks like, and then this is what the component itself looks like. So I don't really know a whole ton about this foundation. I just know that it's matte and it's long wearing. Okay, the I Am Magic foundation is radiant, long lasting, creamy, and comfortable. It says radiant, but then on the front it says velvety matte. Okay. It says, our second skin creamy foundation offers a smooth application with a soft, natural, and soft matte finish to give a flawless coverage. A great formula to even out the complexion, refine skin texture, and erase blemishes, maintaining the initial finish throughout the day. Suitable for all skin types, including sensitive and oily skin. Free from parabens, oil, and free from that. And then the concealer says, Concealer and Perfect. Our Magic Creamy Radiant Concealer smoothens and cancels out dark circles, blemishes, and skin imperfections. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go onto their website so I can read a little bit more about this. If they do have a little bit more about this on their website. They do also have a setting powder, which I did not pick up for today's video. I'm just gonna be using the Jeffree Star setting powder because I used this in my last video and I was literally obsessed with it. I love the smell of it. It smells so good. Okay, so I'm on the JUVIA'S Place website. This retails for $20, so it's kind of in between drugstore and high-end. There are some drugstore foundations that are very close to $20, so this is pretty reasonable pricing. And there is, how many fluid ounces? There's 30 millimeters slash 1 fluid ounce, so your average foundation amount. If you buy any other foundation, there's usually 1 fluid ounce, so that's pretty average. So what I really like about this brand is they actually have the first number. I don't know how to explain this. It goes from darkest to lightest. You know how usually foundations go from lightest to darkest? This brand goes darkest to lightest. So I thought that was pretty cool. It was kind of hard for me to find my shade because I kept getting confused because I'm so used to looking at the lowest number. But really the lowest number is the darkest shade. So that was a little bit confusing, but I thought it was cool to kind of change it up a little bit. Okay, so the I Am Magic Concealer retails for $14, so not too bad. And it has 10 millimeters slash 0.34 fluid ounces. I'm not sure if that's average. Let me grab my Jeffree Star concealer to see how much is in that. Okay, so the Jeffree Star concealer, the Magic Star concealer, has 0.34 millimeters slash 0.115 fluid ounces. So I actually think the I Am Magic concealer has more in it, so you're getting a lot more product, and the Jeffree Star concealer retails for I think like $20 or $22, so I'm not going to compare because the formula might be completely different, but just to give you an idea of how much is in the concealer. So I know I'm like super late on the bandwagon. I actually went to Ulta to go pick up this foundation because I wanted to swatch them in person so I knew my exact shade before I went and purchased it, and they did not have the shade I wanted in stock. So therefore I had to go onto Juvia's Place's website to order the foundation, and because the concealer is only on Juvia's Place's website, I went ahead and ordered the concealer. So because of that, that kind of pushed back my video, and it also pushed back my video because they first sent me the wrong shade. So I'm super behind on the bandwagon, but I still wanted to give it a try and show my viewers what it's all about because I've been super curious to give it a try and see how it lasts throughout the day. Okay, so I am going to be starting off with a primer today because I literally cannot live without primer. My skin is super oily, and primers just really help my makeup last all day, and I usually use a primer on an everyday basis anyways. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply the No Pore Blem primer. This is by Touch and Soul. It's one of my favorite primers right now. And then I'll go ahead and spray on the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water. This has been my favorite combination lately, so I'm going to go ahead and put that on, and then we will go on to the foundation. Okay, so for the foundation, I totally forgot to mention, I got the shade Alexandria 650. Really hope the shade matches. I think it will because I did swatch it in store, but we will test it out. So I am going to be using a sponge today just because that's what I always use. I was going to go ahead and use a brush, one side a brush, one side a sponge, but honestly I really never use brushes, and I feel like nowadays people don't really use brushes anyways, so I figured I'm just going to go in with a sponge. Usually they apply the same when it comes to a brush and a sponge. They usually just apply the same. Sometimes it can be a little bit streaky, sometimes not. Usually a brush gives more coverage than a sponge, but from what I've seen in this video, or seen in videos of this foundation, like on Instagram, this foundation is so full coverage, so I feel like a sponge is going to be perfect because it's not going to be too full coverage. If you want full coverage, I'd probably recommend a brush, but I'm just going to use a sponge in this video. So I'm just going to go ahead and squeeze a little bit onto my hand. I'm going to start off with a little. I don't want to go too heavy-handed because it is supposed to be full coverage. I'm going to bring my mirror up close to me, so I'm sorry if that bothers you, but your girl needs a mirror, okay? Alright, so I'm using my Real Techniques Diamond Sponge. It's one of my favorites. I love this bad boy, and I did just clean it before doing this first impressions, so I don't have any excess foundation on here. It might be a little too dark. Okay, so right off the bat, I think this foundation is going to be way too dark for me, but maybe the concealer will help tone that down. When I swatched it in person, I swatched it next to the L'Oreal 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation in the shade 420 because that's like my perfect shade, and when I swatched this shade next to it, it matched perfectly, so it is a little dark. Okay, it's a lot of dark actually, so we're gonna have to work with it, even though I do have to go out and run errands today. But so far the coverage is like awesome. Honestly, I'm kind of glad I got this shade because I am going on vacation on Wednesday, and I'm probably going to get really tan because we'll be outside a lot. So I'm really happy I got this foundation because now I know at least it will match me then. Not so much now, but I know then it will match me. This is super dark. It is a super thick consistency on my hand. It's not runny or liquidy at all. It is pretty thick. But I don't feel it on my face. Like, I don't feel the thickness of the foundation on my face at all. Alright, let me see what this looks like up close. Are you freaking kidding me? This foundation looks so good. Besides the fact that it's like 10 shades too dark for me, which I'm really surprised about, but it literally looks like skin, but it has coverage. It's the weirdest thing. Usually full coverage foundations like this, you can see like the foundation on your skin. I literally cannot see foundation on my skin right now, besides the shade difference, like I said. But like, it doesn't look like I have foundation on. So far, I'm super impressed. I really like this foundation. I like the way it looks on top of my skin. I love the coverage. It's like perfect. And I bet if you're a girl that needs like full coverage, I bet if you used a brush, you'll get full coverage. Or if you want to build it up, you probably could with a sponge. I'm not going to because I prefer like a little bit of like a medium coverage, not so much like completely full. So I really like how that looks. So I did get a pretty light concealer. I literally should have got my foundation in this shade because, girl, this is too dark. But I'm just gonna go ahead and apply this under my eyes. Oh, it has a huge doe foot, which I love. I love that. Okay, yeah, I can already tell this is gonna be full coverage. But I'm just gonna start under my eyes and then I'll go ahead and apply elsewhere. I just don't, just in case this dries super fast, I don't wanna put it all over my face and then I have issues blending it out. So far, the freaking concealer looks bomb. It already helped my foundation a lot, I feel like. And the coverage is like perfect. Because I'm that type of girl where I don't like super full coverage. Just in general, I just don't like the way it looks on my skin. So I usually prefer like medium coverage. And if I have to build it up, I will. But literally, this is perfect. Like, this is full, but I feel like there's fuller coverage foundations, I mean concealers out there. But I really like this. And the shade is actually, it looks super light. I feel like once I blend it out and set it with powder, it's gonna be like perfect. But I will go ahead and put this on the rest of my face to help with the darkness of my foundation. And I'm hoping that powder will help as well. I'm not gonna go ahead and put this on my eyelid because my eyelids are super oily, so this concealer will just crease right away on my eyelids. And then I'll go ahead with the side that I was blending out the foundation and I'll just go over that to really blend it out. So far, so good. I'm so pissed that this is too dark because I literally have to go out in public like this, but you live and you learn, I guess. You gotta make do with what you got. I never put concealer like right there, but I have a feeling it will help with the foundation not matching. I might as well just use the friggin' concealer as foundation because I literally have it all over my face. Okay, that's definitely a lot better than it was for sure. Even though I basically put concealer all over my face, but your girl's not trying to go out in public with Oompa Loompa face. I am literally obsessed with the way this looks on my skin. Like, it's full coverage, the coverage is there, but it doesn't look like I have anything on my skin. Maybe a little bit around my mouth area, it looks like I have like foundation on, but that's usually the problem I struggle with. I get a little bit of like creasing around the corner of my mouth and my chin. I'm used to that, it's whatever, but everywhere else, it doesn't even look like I have foundation on. It just looks like skin. It's got like a nice natural dew to it. I am gonna set this because I do have super oily skin, so I can't go without setting it. I definitely could have gone with a lot lighter of a shade for the foundation, but honestly, I'm gonna be tan within the next few weeks, so I'm not too worried about it because it's summertime right now. But concealer looks so good. Like I said, I'm not a full coverage concealer gal. I just don't like the way it looks under my eyes, but this is like full coverage, but it doesn't look like a cakey full coverage, if that makes any sense. I'm super obsessed. I love the natural dew. The concealer and the foundation blended perfectly together, and I'm super curious to see how this is gonna last throughout the day. But I am gonna go ahead and bake because I wanna see how this concealer and foundation does with baking. I'm gonna be using the Jeffree Star I Am Magic powder, because I just tried this for the first time in my last video and I'm literally obsessed with it. I love the smell of it and I love the way it looks under my eyes. And I'm gonna bake my entire face. I wanna see how this foundation and concealer is gonna look. Oh, it smells like cotton candy. I freaking love it. I usually don't bake this much, but it's hot today. And I want to see how everything looks when it's baked. Because a lot of products can't be baked with powder. It can look cakey, it can look dry, and I'm just really curious to see what this looks like once it's all baked. That's just like a personal preference. I'm curious to see what it looks like. You definitely don't have to do this. You can just go in with a regular powder. Alright, I'm not going to let that sit too long. I'm just going to go ahead and dust it all off. Okay, so right off the bat, it definitely darkened my concealer, but that's not really a concealer problem. That's more of like a setting powder problem. It like clung to like certain areas. But I'm not obsessed with that look, to be honest with you. That was not a good idea. Like I said, some products can be baked, some can't. It looks good. like the baking looks good on the rest of my face, but for some reason on my under eyes, it just like clung to certain areas. I don't know if I didn't blend it good enough. Okay, so to be honest with you, I'm having a lot of issues with this whole like concealer and setting powder problem. So I'm just gonna go ahead, reapply everything the same way I did, but use a different powder because I can't go out like this. It looks really, really bad. I went on top of it and I tried to blend some lines and it just completely took off my foundation. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start over. I'm gonna use the same primer, same foundation, same concealer, but I'm just gonna go ahead and use a whole different setting powder. I just want to give this foundation a fair shot, and I feel like that powder probably ruined it a little bit. So I'm just gonna go ahead and restart, but I'm not gonna do anything different besides the setting powder. I also decided that I'm gonna take the Catrice Cosmetics Prime and Fine Makeup Transforming Drops. This is the Lightening formula. I'm gonna use this to lighten the foundation. It does not alter the foundation whatsoever. I mix this with like all foundation. Let's count how many times I say foundation. I mixed this with pretty much all my foundations if they're too dark, and it does not alter the formula or anything. That's why I trust to use this with this JUVIA'S Place foundation, especially where I'm doing a first impressions. I'm just gonna go ahead and mix a little bit of this in there just to lighten it so it's a little bit more wearable and I don't have to put concealer on the rest of my face. But like I said, it does not alter the foundation. I love this stuff, and yeah. Okay, so now that that whole dilemma is fixed, the foundation definitely looks a lot better now that I added those drops. It's still a little bit darker, but that's alright. So now I'm just going to take my Rimmel Stay Matte Powder and I'm just going to set the rest of my face. And hopefully that works out better. Totally my bad for baking. I just wanted to test it and see what would happen. And I totally could have baked with that powder, but I just feel like the powder was a little bit too dark and I probably should have gone in with a lighter powder and maybe it wouldn't have darkened my concealer as much. Yeah, that definitely looks a lot better up close now. It looks a little cakey, but nothing that Fix Plus can't fix. It's not too bad. Like, I could probably go out like this. I have to put a lot of powder on because I'm so oily. I could probably go out like this and it'll be fine. It's just up close, it's personally too cakey for me. So I'm just going to use a little bit of Fix Plus to get rid of that. And all Fix Plus does is really just absorbs the extra powder, so your skin looks more like skin and not powdery. So it shouldn't alter the foundation and the concealer at all. That already looks a lot better. It still hasn't dried yet, but it's definitely not nearly as cakey. Alright, so I'm going to finish up the rest of my face using bronzer, blush, highlight, that kind of stuff. And then I will come back and show you the check-in time, and then we can go out throughout the day and see how this foundation lasts. But other than that, I'll be right back. Alrighty guys, so I am back with the rest of my face done. If you're wondering what lip color I'm wearing or what highlighter or what products I used on the rest of my face, be sure to check the description box below. I have a whole list of all the products that I used. But so far I am super, super impressed with this foundation. The only thing I don't like is that it's settling into my lines on my chin and like right around my mouth. It's starting to settle, but that happens with pretty much all foundations that I wear, so I'm used to that by now. It's not really like a huge deciding factor. And everything applied beautifully on top. I had no issues with patchiness or blending or anything like that. I'm not going to go ahead and use a setting spray because I want to see how long this foundation lasts by itself. I don't want a setting spray to decipher that, I guess. Usually I use a setting spray on an everyday basis, but I want to try this foundation without a setting spray and see how it truly lasts by itself. But other than that, I will see you guys in a few hours. The check-in time is 12:54, which is a little bit later than I wanted, but it's because I kind of ran into that issue earlier in the video, so I had to redo it, and because of that we're running a little bit late, but that's okay because I'm still gonna have this foundation on until probably like 10 o'clock at night, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, like I said, the check-in time is 12:54 and I will see you guys in a few hours. Alrighty guys, so I am back. It is 4:27 right now, and as you can see I'm looking pretty oily, but nothing that I'm like, oh my god, I need to put powder on. Like, I'm definitely oily, but it's the oily that I like. I like when I get to this kind of oily because it's not like, it's like natural. I don't know. It looks pretty good overall. I like the way my forehead looks, my nose, my cheeks. My upper lip is just a mess, and my chin is just a creasy mess. But I'm gonna try to blend it out. This is a really risky move, but I'm gonna try to blend it out with my sponge and see if that helps at all. This is really risky because this can literally take off my foundation. Yeah, that helped it a little bit to like blend those creases out. Yeah, that looks a lot better. It still looks cakey, but it doesn't look as creasy and like gross, you know? Right here, I don't know if you can see it. It's like a dark spot. That has been happening all day. I don't know if it's like the concealer or if it's like my mascara like that keeps flaking under there and causing that. I literally have no idea why that black spot is there. It wasn't there earlier, I'm pretty sure. But I don't want to fuss with it too much because I'm afraid my concealer will just come right off. My concealer is creasing really bad, I'm not gonna lie to you. I will give this concealer the benefit of the doubt though, because it doesn't say anything about it being long lasting or crease proof, so the fact that it's creasing or anything I really can't say anything about, because it's not like the concealer claimed that it wouldn't crease or anything. Concealers crease on me anyway, so this is normal for me. I usually just take my finger and I'll go ahead and blend out those creases and I'm good as new. But overall, especially after blending out my mouth area, like around my mouth, it looks a million times better. I did notice my highlighter was fading, which doesn't usually happen to me for some reason, but I just went ahead and put a little bit more on. My blush and my bronzer did fade a little bit, but that could just be the blush, the bronzer, and the highlight too. It could not be the foundation. It could just be that kind of stuff. If you do have normal skin where you don't have to set it with a powder, don't set it with the powder. I loved the way this concealer and foundation looked before I set it. I noticed when I set it, it looked a little bit cakey, I'm not gonna lie. But now that my oils have kind of like peeked through and kind of melted that powder in, it doesn't look nearly as bad. But so yeah, I will check back in a few hours, probably right before I go to bed. I'm going to keep this foundation on. I'm not going to blot or anything. I want to see truly what this foundation does, because I normally don't blot throughout the day anyways. So I'm really curious to see how this will last without blotting or anything. But I will check back in a few more hours. And it's a little bit darker outside, so the lighting is like crap, but that's why. But anywho, I'll check back in a few more hours. Okay, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. I'm super impressed with the way this lighting looks, even though it's a 9:34 at night. And I'm just so ready. I was gonna wait until like right before I go to bed, but I'm just so ready to take this makeup off and take a shower and just lay in bed. So I'm doing not the check-in time, the checkout time at 9:35 p.m. I am looking like an oily, greasy disaster. This spot right here under my eye, I don't know where it's coming from. It keeps coming back. So I'd say overall, I would only wear this. I've had this foundation on for almost 9 hours. It will be 9 hours and 20 minutes. So I've had this foundation on for like 9 hours, and I'd say it started to look pretty bad at like 8 hours. So I would say it is pretty long lasting. I wouldn't say you could wear it for like 24 hours. You might be able to if you have normal skin, but where my skin is so oily, I felt like 8 hours was the breaking point. I wouldn't push it past that 8 hours. I feel like it was just way too much. I'm gonna show up close what my skin looks like right now, because it's looking so bad. Like there's nothing you could even do to fix how bad this looks right now. Okay, so don't mind me, I'm totally using my iPhone because it's the only camera that will really pick up like what's going on, but I just wanted to show you around my mouth and my forehead, and also this black spot. I'm not too sure if you're wondering what I'm looking at my mirror, but I'm not too sure where that came from. I blended that away earlier and it came back, and I don't know if just like, I don't know what's going on there, to be honest with you. I don't know if it's like maybe my eyelashes, my lower lashes touched this area at some point, I'm not sure. But let me show you around my mouth and also in between my eyebrows. Everything else looks good. My nose did not break up at all. My nose, around my nose still looks really good. My forehead still looks really good. The only problem areas is around my mouth and in between my eyebrows, which is so rare. It's usually my nose that breaks up the fastest, but let me show you guys real quick. Okay, so this is around my mouth. As you can see, it's like super like broken apart and doesn't look too flattering. From a distance, it actually doesn't look bad, but up close you can really see all that. And this camera is making my oils look out of control. It really is in person, but it's so bad. And then here's in between my eyebrows. I don't know if you can see, there's like lines right in there. But I just want to show you guys what it looks like up close so you know what it would look like in person, because I know a camera can really like blur all that stuff out, so I want to show you guys in depth what all that looks like. I would say 8 hours max if you have oily skin. I wouldn't push it past that because it'll start to look like a greasy, oily mess. It might last longer if you powder throughout the day, but I'm the kind of gal where I don't get time time for that, so I just usually let my foundation be. But I might try this foundation with a mattifying primer and then set it very lightly with a powder. I'm not sure, like I'm so used to setting my foundation with a powder, I feel like it's weird to not set it. But so yeah, pretty impressed so far, pretty good for the price point. And I love the way it looked after I first applied it. It looked bomb, and I feel like after a few more hours it started to look a little bit better, and now it's just like, okay girl, you need to take your makeup off, it's like way too much. Also, I just wanted to mention, at one point I did like itch right here, like I took my hand and went like this to itch and it completely came off on my hand. So if you're looking for a foundation that's like transfer proof or anything like that, this definitely isn't the foundation for that. Then again, if you use like the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray to help with the transfer resistant part of it, it definitely would help. But then again, this foundation doesn't say anything about it being transfer resistant or transfer proof, so I really can't make that like a factor of this foundation because it does not claim that whatsoever. But everywhere else it didn't really wear down at all. The coverage is still there, it's just starting to break up where the oil is, but nothing wore off. Like I still have the coverage that I had earlier today and it still looks really, really good. The foundation, I wasn't like, oh my god, this is my new everyday foundation. It is a very nice foundation. Personally, I really like my L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear, and I also really like my Estee Lauder Double Wear. Does this compare to it? I don't know. I have to test it out a little bit more with different primers that I enjoy. It's kind of hard to do first impressions and give you a full in-depth review because I literally only use this once, but I definitely want to try it out a little bit more. I'll update you guys on Instagram as well because I want to try this foundation, like I said, with primers that I thoroughly enjoy and with setting sprays, and kind of see how that works, and with different powders and different, especially the concealer, I want to try it with different powders and see what really works. So I will update you guys on Instagram, and I'll try, can't promise anything, I'll try to update the description box below because like I said, first impressions are like kind of really hard to give an in-depth review because you're trying it for the first time with only certain products. You kind of have to go back and try try the foundation and the concealer with other products that might help it work a little bit better. Alrighty guys, so that completes today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed my first impression / wear test on the JUVIA'S Place I Am Magic foundation and I Am Magic concealer. If you did, be sure to let me know in the comments down below and give this video a big thumbs up. Also, if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe. I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And actually, that reminds me, so I am going on vacation on Wednesday afternoon. I was gonna upload Thursday and Saturday still, but I'm going camping, so I will not have Wi-Fi. If I was staying at a hotel, I would do it, but I'm not. I'm literally going tenting. So unfortunately, this Thursday and this Saturday's video will not be going up. I know, I feel so bad. But I will be back on schedule next Tuesday, so the next video you will see me will be next Tuesday. So I'm really sorry in advance, but I still upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, just not this Thursday and this Saturday. You know what I mean, girl? But so yeah, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on the notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!